There are 5 steps personally I have applied in my own life in dealing with lustful thoughts. And when it comes to this subject, I'm not saying I'm an expert, but I believe I have a lot to give when I look back at my life, where 14 years of my life from the age of 12, 13 until I was about 26 was dedicated to consuming porn, engaging in some behavior I'm not proud to share, in engaging in some fetish, some fantasies that could have cost me my life. So when it comes to dealing with lustful thoughts, I'm not an expert, but there are key steps that I've applied personally in my own life. My prayer and my hope is that you will take time not only to listen, but you will also apply this in your own life, because there's no point listening without applying. That is what I'm about to say here. The key thing I want to leave you with before we go into this show is, until application is in place, transformation will never be experienced. So stay and ready to be transformed into this show. Hello, how are you doing? Hope you're well. Welcome to an exciting day. When it comes to dealing with lustful thoughts or lustful sexual desires, whether we like it or not, we live in a sexually charged environment, culture, where everything we look at, from billboard, social media, Netflix, everything is sexually charged up. You can't escape it. And these are one of the key things that I think about when I look at my 2 boys growing up. How do you train your children in this so sexually charged culture? But there is a way out. Now, in my own personal life, there are 5 steps I took. If you apply the 5 steps to your life, I'm not guessing. If you've come across my program now, my show, my goal is to ensure that every tool, every time I'm making a content, is that whoever listen will achieve the results they so much desire. So far, they apply themselves to it. The very first step you need to take is what I call a decision for a change. Are you willing to pay the price to change? Because until your commitment is in place, until you are ready to forego the old lifestyle, lusting after a woman will always be a struggle. Because people think they can just wish, oh, Elisha, I would like to stop lusting. It's taking over my life, it's consuming my life, but yet I'm struggling. And I always ask them this one question: what are you willing to do? Elisha, what do you mean? Oh, that question is loaded. What are you willing to do? How far are you willing to go in taking control of your life? Because there will be a price. Some of you will have to change the circle of friends. You may have to ban your social media for a while. You may have to stop going in a particular path you usually take to either your workplace or your college place. You may have to stop having sex until you get married. This is the first thing. Every other thing I mention after this is irrelevant until you are making a choice for a change. So the question is, are you willing to be committed? Are you willing to stay on track until you not only take control of your life from lustful behavior, but maintain a life of purity, a life of clarity as to how you relate to women? So, my first step is commitment. Are you ready to commit? yourself to the process. Number two, without number one, number two, you don't need to worry about it. Clean out the database of images you stored away in your mind. The database of images could be pornography that you stored away on your hard drive. It could be images, sexual images stored away on your phone. It could be literature, it could be anything. But most importantly, it could be images you stored away in your memory. Friend, this is where many are not willing to let go because they're so used to, they fantasize, they play romance with these images. Letting go is a big challenge. You have to take it upon yourself to clean out the database of those lustful images that you stored and buried away over the years. I can't count how many times I promised myself in my own journey towards dealing with my addiction to porn, in my sexual behaviors that I wasn't proud of. I've always said many times I would delete the gigabytes, terabytes of porn, but same day I will find myself going back and re-downloading the same image I just deleted. So the question is I ask you initially, are you willing to commit to the process? Because the commitment is what will birth the behavior you're looking for. It is when you're committed, you're ready to take the next step to clean out the database of your memory, the database that you have of all those explicit content. Number two, very simple. We now need to take assessment. Now that we've cleansed out, we need to what? Put in, impute new content now into your mind. Don't play game. Don't think you just clean out your mind and leave your mind empty. If you do that, you will be worse off. That was a mistake I made intentionally. And that is why the content you now begin to implant, intentionally program in your mind becomes so important. Remember, the goal is to stop lusting after women, meaning you've cleansed out the old database of how you should have been lusting after women, some of the things you've done mentally, some of the fantasies you've engaged in. Now you and I, you personally, need to go ahead, pick up your journal, and begin to draft what I call what are the kind of things I would like to think about? What are the kind of things I would like to implant in my mind? How do I intend to start having healthy relationship with women around me? What is my plan going forward when it relates to sex? You have to personally write this down because this is where you start cultivating. This is where you start curating the new kind of thought you want to expose your mind to. You see, these are steps that you find yourself going over and over, whether you like it or not, for the rest of your life. So remember, step number one, I want you to take your time to ask yourself, am I willing to commit to the process? Step number two, step number one, drive step number two. Am I willing to let go of those database, of those images I've archived in my memory for years, either in my memory or on my phone or either on my laptop? Am I willing to let go? Number three, now you need to take time to start creating new content to expose your mind to. You want to have a routine as to when you study your Bible. You want to take time to look at the kind of books you read, the kind of Netflix content you're exposed to, the kind of social media content you allow to feed, to take over your feed. You have to do that. And this leads to number four. You need to have a routine in place. At the initial kickoff, the moment you make a decision for a change, You need to impute a routine. At first, you might think, Elisha, what do you mean? I was struggling. I don't know how to go about routine. Fine. The very first thing I want you to do is to take an assessment of your environment. Ask yourself in the current environment, what time do you wake up? What time do you go to bed? What time do you have your lunch break? Take time to articulate your lifestyle, your existing environment, and ask yourself question based on my environment. When can I take time away to think on new thought or to read a book? When can I take time away to meditate? When can I take time away to look after my mind, to look after myself? There must be a routine in place at the offset, at the onset rather, of your journey in dealing with lustful sexual lifestyle. Please don't ignore this. It's key if you are to keep the momentum going. What do I say? A routine is key if you are to keep the momentum going at the initial phase of dealing with lustful thoughts. Finally, having spent close to 18 years, and I give God the praise in dealing with lustful thoughts, one thing I've realized, your mind is like a garden. I've never seen a garden that is left unattended to and without you seeing weeds all over the garden in a couple of weeks. Every garden, the most beautiful garden you can ever wish for, I don't know where they are, whether it's in France. Every garden needs a gardener. A gardener needs to carefully watch over the garden to ensure weeds are not allowed to grow, to ensure the plant, the beautiful flowers, are carefully pruned when they are needed, given the right nutrients. Likewise, your mind. Step one to step five is a system. You need to daily, in step five, you need to continually feed your mind with good information, meaning renew your mind, constantly feeding your mind with the right information. It is when you engage with this five step, you will start experiencing a mind that now look at women in a healthy way, a mind that will stop objectifying women. That, my friend, is what I pray for. If you're looking to apply, you ask yourself, okay, Elisha, how do I work with you? Is there anything I can do if I'm struggling with pornography? You'll find a link to my masterclass in this particular description box below. And in the masterclass, I simply just take you through some of the belief system that might be holding you back in reaching out for your recovery. I hope you will take the necessary step. Once again, thank you for listening and subscribing to this episode.